welcome to the MCG for the AFL International Cup 2017 Grand Final. And what a huge game this is going to be. New Zealand undefeated, trying to win their second International Cup. Papua New Guinea aiming to become the most successful team in Cup history with their third title today. A beautiful day now after a bit of rain a little bit earlier on, and we head down to the anthems. New Zealand versus Papua New Guinea. We will very shortly move into the haka and the Papua New Guinean war dance, which is always fantastic to see. I'm Brendan Rhodes from KC Radio in Cranbourne, joining you on this AFL International Cup Grand Final. Also in the box with me as we wait for these big pre-match celebrations. Let's move down straight back there now. spine-tingling stuff between New Zealand and Papua New Guinea on the mighty MCG. What a thrill for them to be playing in the International Cup Grand Final today. And it's a very good morning. Also joining me here in the MCG commentary box from Central Murray Live to Shane Fleming.
Morning, Brendan. Morning, viewers. Pleasure to be here for this big game. Really looking forward to this contest. Certainly the two form teams of the competition thus far.
Coming down from Swan Hill. Also, it's a great plug for your station and your coverage to have two team members with us. And down on the boundary line is Noel Watson. Noel, good morning and welcome to the MCG.
Thanks, mate. Big thrill. I can tell you the toss has been won by New Zealand. They'll kick to what is left of your broadcast commentary position. We had a little bit of rain here, in fact, a lot of rain, but the ground has come up remarkably well. I think it will be a little bit greasy, but both sides, that Harker and the PNG boys are fearsome. It's going to be a fantastic game, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Amazing to
see the weather here in Melbourne, but certainly not a surprise at all. Joining us on comments here in the box, one of the, I suppose, real authorities on the International Cup, Troy Thompson from World Footy News. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks. Great to be here at the MCG for this 6th International Cup Grand Final. Of course, PNG winning the first one back in 2002. And then 2008 and 2014, and they've actually been in all 6 grand finals, losing to New Zealand in 2005 and to Ireland in 2011. So it's an amazing record by PNG.
How do you see this game unfold?
Well, two very different styles. The Kiwis are very disciplined in their footy, well structured, and PNG, well, organised chaos, I guess. They're just fast and very skillful, so it'll be fantastic to see those two styles go up against each other on this big ground.
Noel Watson, Troy Thompson, Brendan Rhodes, all with you. And here for the first bounce of the International Cup 2017 is Shane Fleming.
So we're underway in the Division 1 Grand Final, and winning the tap down there was Namidi for the Mosquitoes. And we're going to have another bounce here in the middle of the ground here at the home of football in Melbourne, Australia. So underway Smith going up unopposed, gets the tap down to his teammate there. Then it comes to Hick. He loses the ball, going in hard. There was Simon still on the ground. No one able to take clean possession. And we're going to get a third bounce to start this game.
Put a challenge on you. Who's going to win?
For mine, I like New Zealand. They've certainly been the form team of this tournament.
I'm going for PNG in a close one. Quick kick towards half forward. Running through was John James, the captain. Left it behind. Gathered for New Zealand by Kuzel. Quick kick inside 50. Ball bounces over the head of Tapini. Pressure on here. Strong tackle laid by Christensen. And the umpire will have to come in and ball it up.
So ball about 30 metres out from goal. And it is New Zealand into attack. Ball thrown up now. Little tap down. Tried to find a teammate there in Johnson. He lost the ball. It's a hard contest to win at the moment. All going in with the foot there, but lucky not to give away. The free kick was Tapia. And the umpire again calls for it. As you would expect, it's a tough contest to start it. It's grand final. Both teams are playing for their country. Division 1 title here at the AFL International Cup. Handball comes out. Now it comes to Tiffany Thomas. Runs around one. Gets the handball away to Johnson. They go back outside 50. They've turned it over here. Now looking for the free kick for Papua New Guinea was Logo. Didn't get it. That little handball comes out, misses the target, and it's picked up now by Ikupu.
Major left it behind. That was Jambarufo. Out with the Kiwis. Liam Beattie kicks back towards half forward. Front spot. Strong mark taken there by Donald Brown. Kicks inside 50. That's a lovely lace-out pass. And Barclay Miller has taken the mark, the St Kilda rookie lister, the hero of the win over Ireland on Tuesday that knocked the Warriors out and put Papua New Guinea through, and he can get a perfect start for the Hawks.
Yeah, obviously had a great experience down at St Kilda and Sandringham, and what a fantastic after the siren kick it was during the week.
And Miller threads it through. So the last goal on Tuesday, the first goal of the grand final for Barclay Miller. And New Zealand get the ideal start after 2.5 minutes.
Shane, down the boundary, I can tell you, for those that have followed the AFL, Darryl White is helping Papua New Guinea with their interchange. So a lot of experience on the PNG interchange bench.
So, of course, the triple premiership player for the Brisbane Lions. And Noel and I will know Darryl quite well. He's spent the last 7 seasons up at my home club in Nyai West United. So, back in the middle. He's a very astute tactician, is Darryl. Ball tapped down there by Smith. Goes with the second effort, does the ruckman for the Hawks, but he can't break free of the tackle, and we will have a ball up still inside the middle of the ground here. Smith again going up unopposed, wins the tap down, now taken by Beattie. Gives it across. New Zealand working it out through handball, ends up with Dickinson, runs one way then the next, now gives the little handball off, inside to Beattie again. They're mucking around with it a little bit here, New Zealand. They're going to turn it over if they're not careful. Eventually taken here by Papua New Guinea, comes to Simon, gives a little handball out to John James Larvai, and he goes off half back.
Larvai kicks up towards half forward. It was tapped away by Kuzel. Backing himself, Baker Thomas, the other St Kilda listed player in the New Zealand team. Kuzel fed the hand pass back. That was risky. Siwi couldn't trap it. And the umpire sees a free kick to New Zealand. Took a little bit too long to get rid of the football. And it'll be taken by Gregson, who is another one who has spent time at Sandringham, involved in the St Kilda program. I'm sure Gregson kicks up towards centre wing, and it's thumped away for Papua New Guinea and over the line for a boundary throw-in. The outer wing at the MCG. 4 minutes gone in the first quarter. International Cup 2017 Grand Final. Smith for New Zealand up against Namiti for Papua New Guinea. Ball fed out the back, trying to turn through traffic was Clinch. Sent it out wide, ball work towards the line, and it will be forced over for another boundary throw-in.
It was not evident up there, Shane. It certainly is a ground level. The height difference here for the New Zealand boys over the Papua New Guinea. They've got a lot of boys over the 180, haven't they?
Certainly do. That will be one of their strengths. Ball thrown back into play. Front position was Smith. Got the tap down to a teammate who's kicked it up towards half forward and trying to keep the ball in there for Papua New Guinea. A clever little tap by the defender. Now it comes out. New Zealand still with possession. It's with Suku now. Gives the handball back. Mucking around with it here a little bit. Comes out now. Song there. Gives it off to Simon. He runs around one, he's still got possession. Simon eventually gives the handball off, gives it away there to Tapia. He kicks up onto the wing, can't take the mark. It's a scrappy play at the moment. Now picking it up is Smith for New Zealand.
Smith fed the hand pass back. Kuzel's been good at half-back so far. He looked out wide for Brandon Suku, but it was knocked away from him. And good work by Akupu, who's unable to keep it in play, however. And we'll have another boundary throw-in. Early doors at the MCG, New Zealand versus Papua New Guinea. The Hawks from New Zealand with the first goal. Smith got to the front spot, knocked it to ground. Simon got a quick hand pass away, booted clear by Dickinson for New Zealand. Backing himself and breaking the line there, looked like Levi. He can't get clear. New Zealand with the footy again now. Quick kick goes down towards half forward. Only as far as the Papua New Guinea, the Mosquitoes defence, and they'll come out away through Tapini.
So Tapini now kicking in the middle of the ground, wasn't good though, had no support there now. Turned over, comes to Donald Brown. He has a teammate running forward in supporting Clinch. Got bumped there at the crucial moment. It's still with the Hawks, however. Going in hard there for Papua New Guinea and low was Tapini, but it comes out now towards Clark, a high ball towards the goal square and going back and taking a strong mark for New Zealand. And he may have Mackenzie, there it is. He may have caught one in the back, but he looks all right. He's on his feet and he will go back and have his shot 15 metres out, slight angle. Some
good work by Clinch there. Really set that play up. Some clever handball.
Yeah, good courage shown by Mackenzie too. Back with the flight of the ball with a charging Mosquito defender coming straight at him.
So Mackenzie now to give the Hawks the dream start. Comes in, kick on its way, it's straight through. And New Zealand lead, 2 straight 12. Papua New Guinea yet to score, been playing just under 7 minutes in the first term.
I really like the work of Joe Baker Thomas there, coming off half back, just broke through with his strength and composure and set that up for New Zealand.
Yeah, the experience and the learning that Baker Thomas and Miller have gotten at St Kilda, and of course Gregson with Sandringham would be having a fair bit to do with how dangerous they can be at each end of the ground for New Zealand.
Absolutely, and PNG have been getting good numbers to the ball, but possibly over-committing a little bit so far.
Pooler won the tap for the Mosquitoes, tries to go through again. Smith dragged it under. Was it Marlow? Goes again. Back on top of him was Pooler. Did he drag it in? I thought he dragged it in a couple of times there, Shane.
A little bit lucky there, I think, for Merlot.
Misalifi Famalo Jr., that is.
So ball thrown up again. Tap again, won by New Zealand, but it's taken by Papua New Guinea to Song. Kicks inside 50, but it's all the Hawks back there. Gregson with the clearing kick out onto the wing. It's a high ball. Getting underneath it there was Phillip. Couldn't take the mark. Now comes out the back. Still with the Mosquitoes and taking in a strong tackle. He's going absolutely nowhere on the far wing, and it is New Zealand at the moment leading 2 straight 12. Papua New Guinea get the score.
Yeah, ideal start for the Hawks. They did look good early on against Ireland, then got overhauled and had to fight back in the final round on Tuesday. Free kick for holding the ball going here to Papua New Guinea. And I tell you what, that didn't go back to the right player. We've seen those paid at AFL level. Free kick for JJ Penny. He goes short and running towards half forward. The Mosquitoes. Ikapu was the choice. Couldn't get through to him. Tapped over the top. Here's an opportunity for the little man. A flying shot on goal from Benno is off to the left. And through for one behind. First score for Papua New Guinea is a behind after 9 minutes. New Zealand have 2 goals.
So ball to be brought back in by Suku. He goes short into the pocket. So they're just a slow, deliberate approach here by New Zealand, looking to maintain possession out of the defensive half. Eventually with the long kick out towards half back, unable to take the mark. There was Dickinson. Ball goes to the ground now. It's with Papua New Guinea. Oh, sliding mark, but dropped it at the crucial moment. Now going in hard was Siwi. High ball, sitting underneath it. Good punch from behind there by Suku. Umpires paid the mark, however.
It landed in his arms after the
Suku's
punch.
got the punch and then followed up with the mark, so good work from him.
Taken by Christensen on half-back. He's come a long way up. Dangerous kick. But
paid the free.
Yeah, no question. Penny infringing on Jay Johnson, who goes short, doesn't quite make it to the target. Akupu knocks it away from him. Christensen backed it up, handball through, shrugging one tackle. Benno had to get a quick hand pass away as the second one arrived. Tracking towards the football was Siwi. Needed to get it on the boot to get it through to the attacking play. They've got a chance here. Papua New Guinea. Song, snap around the corner and out the back, and taking the mark is Amua Mazaparika. And he can line up 15 metres out, almost directly in front. Their leading goal scorer.
He's kicked 10 for the tournament so far.
Kicked 6, I think, in the community round last Saturday.
Yeah, against the US out at Montrose.
So Parika, the Mosquitoes need this, and he delivers. First goal.
He is their barometer. When he's on fire, they're going, and everyone gets around him and get fired up when Mua is on fire.
Well, as you can see the difference in the game contrast here, if you like. The New Zealand boys trying to play a little bit of possession. I'm sure PNG just want to scramble, and that goal, something from nothing realistically, just a bit of a push across the ground, a soccer, and on his own, playing a typical forwards role. I think getting in front and taking full toll. PNG are on the board so far as goals are concerned.
He didn't have a great game against South Africa on Tuesday, but wasn't required to in a one-sided game, but certainly a big factor, and he got out the back in the wide open spaces here.
So back in the middle, Morgan with the tap, or going in hard there and getting a high one was Terang. So Terang now feeds it off to King through the middle, did well there, ran around his opponent, now runs his full measure, has to kick, does, inside 50, the lead is on there from, that was Parika again, the goal scorer, and working over the boundary. They're appealing for the deliberate, but umpire says throw it back in, deep into attack for the Mosquitoes.
Only a very small crowd here so far, but it is starting to build. You can see a few Collingwood and Geelong Guernseys making their way inside the MCG to have a look at this game early. Trying to work their way through was Kuzel. He fed it back to Clinch for the Kiwis. Out towards the back pocket, dangerous, over the head of Phillip. Has to track it back under pressure from Faimalo. Faimalo did well. Can he keep it in? He does so. Support arrives. Faimalo fed the handball back. It was left behind by Aisi. Still a chance for the Kiwis. They've worked the ball all the way up to the wing, about 45 metres without actually a clear possession. And we'll get a ball up. Well done, New Zealand defence.
So on the far side of the ground now. Ball to be tossed back into play. Tapped down there by Morgan, gets it to his feet. Going in hard there, Faimalo again, wins possession, or kick was smothered. Now still with New Zealand, however, lower leg there you would think was clinch. Umpire called play on. Going in hard and low was Penny. Of course featured in the recruit as well, did JJ Penny. And we're going to get a ball up over on the Great Southern Stand side of the ground.
He certainly had plenty of class in the early days of that competition, as King is hassled over the line for a boundary throw-in.
So 17.5-minute quarters being played here with no time on. For those not familiar with the format, so we've got about 4 minutes to play in this first quarter.
Papua New Guinea have settled down a little bit after being jumped by the Hawks. Backing himself to go through, but a strong tackle was laid by Donald Brown. And a ball up will result 55 metres out from the New Zealand goal. Rucks to go at it again. Big jump from Pula, brought it down for the Mosquitoes. Working hard for the Hawks was the skipper Howison, but he took him on and lost. And a free kick to Papua New Guinea for holding the ball. It'll be JJ Penny to receive.
So Penny now with the ball at half-back. Short chip over the top. Oh, dropping the ball there was Terang. They've turned it over. They've got numbers forward, have New Zealand, but missing the handball there was Donald Brown. Now it comes back to the Mosquitoes, looking for a target upfield. He's got two to beat, and from behind, a big fly there from Gregson. Didn't give away the free kick play on, said the umpire. And eventually he has found one though. It's going to go the way of the Mosquitoes, holding on.
Yeah, just off the contest that was.
And so kick forward there by Johnson. Unable to take the mark was Wartovo. So New Zealand take possession. Christensen now, a scrubby kick up towards half forward. That's not going to be effective, and the Mosquitoes will look to switch the play.
Johnson out wide to Penny, who's made the switch. This is dangerous for the Kiwis. If the Mosquitoes can run, King has it, called to play on. He's gone off his line now. Sizes up his options and then just ran straight into the tackler McKenzie. Dropped the footy. Umpire said play on. Long ball down towards half forward. Kupu brought it to ground. Numbers with New Zealand in the hands of Gregson. Fed it back and then off the outside of the left boot and out of bounds on the full. A little bit of a disappointing result that for the Kiwis from clinch.
So John James now. A short little chip. That could be a costly mistake for New Zealand with only 2 minutes remaining in the term. Little chip forward from Johnson, finds its target, so they're working it slowly forward. It's King now with the ball. So probably too far out to score.
King's been playing footy out here with Montrose as well.
So King now from 52, sits it up to the goal square. Big fly there, it's all New Zealand though. Punch comes down to Howison, the captain. Little kick around the corner to Tiffany Thomas, he runs out of room. And he's worked over the boundary line by Wartovo.
He's another one of those big men, Emmaus Wartovo, who moves a lot better than you'd expect for his size. And he managed to shut that down pretty well on Tiffany Thomas.
His nickname is Fat Boy. They refer to him that in the huddles regularly.
I think they told us to call him that too. Hand pass out from Tiffany Thomas. Quick kick from Suku. Up in the air, arriving Wartovo. Couldn't quite hang on to the mark. Base of the pack is Leap for New Zealand. And it'll be wrapped up. And we'll have another ball up as we head into the final minute of this opening term.
So inside attacking 50 for the Mosquitoes. Tap comes down now to Terang. Kick forward, but it's all New Zealand. They're all happy to see the ball over the boundary line. There was Brandon Suku. And again, we will have another boundary throw in. They're just playing for time almost, knowing that there's only 30 seconds or 35 seconds remaining in the quarter. It's going to be hard for New Zealand to score here, so just trying to set up defensively. Not give the Mosquitoes the chance to score. Kupu goes up in the ruck, then takes it. Kick was smothered. Now comes down to Logo. He lost the footy. King was in there as well. Kupu with a big, strong tackle. Play on, says the umpire. Smith, he's taken by a Kupu too. He lost the ball. Still go New Zealand. Ball's now with Christensen. He goes to ground. Pack forms. Umpire crosses himself, calls for it. And we will have a ball up as we tick down to the final seconds of the first term.
They'll need a kick straight out of the contest. It won't even be a contest. And the siren sounds for quarter time as the crowd starts to build at the MCG. And it is New Zealand who got a good start with the first 2 goals, and they hang on to a 5-point lead at the first break. Papua New Guinea working their way back into the contest in the second half of the term. The Kiwis, the Hawks, are 2 straight 12, leading the Papua New Guinea Mosquitoes 1-1-7. Goal scorers for New Zealand, Sam McKenzie and Barclay Miller. For Papua New Guinea, Amua Mazaparika has their goal. Troy Thompson, how did you see it?
Look, New Zealand were fantastic early. They set up well up forward and held their marks and converted, and that was important. But as the quarter wore on, PNG, who perhaps overcommitted a bit early on and allowed the Kiwis to get out the back, those numbers started to tell at the contests around the ground, and they worked it forward. When the Kiwis brought it back, they were well set up in defence as well and hard to break through in that second half of the quarter.
Yeah, the Kiwis using their height to advantage, I think, in the early part of the game. They do say that tall blokes don't get any shorter, and they'll be looking at that throughout the course of the game. But the Mosquitoes' pace as it goes on this big ground will really help them.
Teams have on the ground gone into their little huddles of various forwards, backs, etc. And the coaching fraternity for both sides pretty busy, I can tell you. I know PNG are really happy, just listening to their bench throughout that first quarter, really happy with their endeavour. They're strong through the hips, as we know, and I think they want a bit of a scramble through the midfield. Otherwise, if it becomes a possession game, probably New Zealand a little bit, but PNG really happy to have a scramble through the midfield and then try and play into an line, whereas the NZ boys...
Just lost Noel there, unfortunately, so we'll try and get him back. That's Noel Watson riding the boundary for us here at the MCG International Cup 2017 Grand Final. Just short breaks as well. Troy, only 4 minutes at quarter at three-quarter time, so not a lot of time for them to regain their composure.
No, that's right. Not a lot of time to get the message across. So David Lake out there for PNG. He's also, I believe, assistant coach at the Brisbane AFLW team. And he's, as you mentioned before, got the big man as his assistant coach, Darryl White.
Yes, so Darryl White, as I mentioned during the call, as Noel mentioned as well, that he's a very astute tactician, is Darryl. I don't think a lot of people would probably know that about him, so he will certainly have them fired up. Troy, the big ground, it's obviously compared with Ransford Oval and McAllister Oval, where these two teams have been playing so far this tournament. It's certainly a different size. Do you think that comes into effect at all throughout this game?
Oh, absolutely. The PNG boys, as I said, have been pushing very hard to the contests, and I think they'll keep that up right through the length of the game, only 4 17.5-minute quarters. And I think that'll really tell as the game goes on. But also, you've seen there's good space for the Kiwis to use their size when they lead up forward. So they'll be trying to turn that to their advantage and get their structures sorted again for the second quarter.
Troy, I can tell you what quarter time coach Rob Malone said, pretty much what you just said. Let's try and use the space a little bit. We've got the creative play through midfield. If we can just probably get the second possession away rather than try and be just a little cute. He didn't use the word cute, but I think that's what he was trying to get across. It is greasy down here at ground level, so I think he was sort of remonstrating with those midfield on-ball blokes. First possession, yes. Second and third, don't bother. Get it forward.
Just looking at some of the supporters making their way in to have a look. There's plenty of Papua New Guinea support in different pockets of the ground, and I can see the Japanese team about our height up there on the other side of the ground over in the Great Southern Stand. So they're in having a look, and a group of Geelong supporters already singing and supporting these teams, which is great to see.
And of course, the New Zealand boys will feel right at home once the Collingwood supporters come in with the black and white and silver colours. So I'm sure that they'll get right on the bandwagon.
We've already seen a magpie flag or two flying up in the cheer squad for Collingwood.
Hey boys, just quickly, we should give thanks to Kirsty Fitzgerald from AFL Victoria. She's done a marvellous job setting up the call teams throughout the game. She's down on the boundary here, still working hard to make sure this competition flows. So big effort by Kirsty.
A sensational performance. It must be a logistical nightmare organising 26 teams, over 700 players, probably 25 or 30 commentators as well. It's been an amazing effort from her. and it certainly can't be understated what Kirsty and everyone at AFL Victoria have done. This is the second quarter, and I'm Brendan Rhodes, and this is Shane Fleming.
So Smith for New Zealand got the tap down there, trying to run onto it was Hick, but it's come now to Simon. He goes backwards by hand to Major, who kicks inside 50 out on the lead, unable to hold on to it there, and trying to pick it up now for the PNG side is Garoga. Missed the target by hands, they've turned it over. Now Clinch kicks up towards half forward on the lead. That was good play there by Miller. So Barclay Miller plays on. They got the loose numbers out the back, have New Zealand going up to take the mark. And a strong mark at that. I think that is Johnson.
JJ.
And he has been one of the form players of the tournament for New Zealand, and he will go back directly in front from 25 metres.
Yeah, I think the PNG boys trying to claim they touched that, but nothing doing. He certainly took the mark.
So Johnson now. Plays for the Eastern Blues. Comes in, kick. I think he might have snuck it home. He has. So it's 3 straight to New Zealand. They go to 3 straight 18. They lead Papua New Guinea 1-1-7. Been playing 1 minute in the second term.
He was a bit worried off the boot, Shane, wasn't he? Because he held the head for a second, but it did straighten and hold its line a little bit towards the end. But 3 straight, and that's the telling factor, isn't it? 3 straight. I notice also that Ty Smith back in the ruck for the NZers. He gives them a lot of advantage out of there with his massive spring.
And Noel, an injury worry for the Hawks down there. Just saw a player carried off.
Yeah, he's grabbing his hammy too. I'm just going to wander up and see if I can find anything about it, but he was carried off. Yeah, you're right.
We'll come back into you as Hick couldn't break clear. Man from the Auckland University Blues. And we'll have another ball up in the centre of the MCG. One down by Smith. Only as far as his opposite number, Simon, and then the kick goes up towards half forward. Akupu, it went past him. Parika attacks the ball. Akupu toe pokes it through. Little kick partially smothered. Works towards the line. The little fella Ace handball back into play. And eventually it goes over. Kawago Pauloya, or Ace, 15 years of age, had a big tournament for Queensland in the under-16 national titles and now playing on the big stage.
Yes, impressive effort there from a 15-year-old, that is for sure. Comes down now to Suku, who kicks up towards half-back. There's no one home, and the mark's taken by Akai. Gives a little handball off now. Long ball there from Tapia. That is a long ball, and taking the mark at the back is Parika. And he will go back from directly in front. Gets a little bit of a helping nudge too from his opponent in Baker Thomas. But he will go back from directly in front and line him up.
He's just too strong there, Troy, for an AFL rookie listed player as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience, Mua. Been around the team a long time. He's had some very good performances here on the MCG in the National Cup finals.
So Mua Mazaparika looking for his second. He puts it straight through. And the Mosquitoes answer back. They go to 2-1-13. They trail New Zealand 3 straight 18. 3 minutes gone in the second term.
He's got a great understanding of the game, hasn't he? Because he just knew where to position his body there. Just quickly, that was Andrew Suku, coming off for New Zealand with a hammy. And in his words, I'm done.
Well, that is terrible news for New Zealand. Suku alongside Baker Thomas are the 2 pillars of the Hawks' defence. So that's a massive loss for them, and disappointing for him too, as Howison got a quick kick out of the centre of the ground, trying to break through, duck under a tackle Aisi, then he got it onto Namiti, kicks to half forward, Baker Thomas with the flying spoil, it's going to come back in, great dummy sell by Tapini, kicks towards half forward, but it was well read by the Hawks. It'll be taken away by Howison, who got back dangerous. Clinch dropped the mark across to Boyce. Great smother on the chase there by Benno. And the ball will run away and over the line for a boundary throw-in. Desperation from both teams. It's picked up a notch in the last couple of minutes.
Have a look at the PNG interchange bench. They were delighted with that smother. They knew the NZers were out.
So, Namiti and Smith, neither ruckman able to get the clean tap. Comes down now to Hick. Got the handball away. Now the kick up to the wing, but it's marked there by Penny. Plays on, got the high tackle. Should be a free. It will be. Umpire's seen it. And so JJ Penny with the free.
Just slipped at the unfortunate stage for Christensen, didn't he? Just brought him into the tackle.
So Penny now, not a lot of options to kick to. There's not a lot of movement, so he's going to kick down the line. Coming across and almost being spoilt by his teammate there was Michael Boyce, but he takes the mark at half-back.
A little bit to go on with from Laurie Logo, who has had an excellent tournament for the Mosquitoes. Kick towards the wing, almost brought to ground by Namidi. At the back, Jambarufo kicks towards half-forward. Off hands was Ace. He kicks around the corner towards the pocket. Parika's the target. It'll bounce away from him and go over the line for a boundary throw-in. So another scoring opportunity for Papua New Guinea. Since that first 5 minutes or so, they've really managed to break even and possibly even have the better of New Zealand in general play. Jumping over the top, but going too far under the ball was a Kupu. Ace at the back, snap around the corner, just to the left. Excitement machine, young Ace, Awago Pauloya, one behind only.
Have to remind yourself that he's only 15 years of age, is Ace.
From the Oilman Kakofas.
He has got some talent. And the umpires found a free kick, and it's going to be taken downfield, is it? For New Zealand, a high contact after he kicked the ball, it'll be with Shane Leet. So Leet now, in the middle of the ground, kicks out towards the wing. Contest out there, and taking a good strong mark is Brendan Clark. So Clark out on the ground, a great southern side of the ground. Goes in towards Smith, but going back and taking a good strong courage, mark with courage there is John James.
And the skipper goes short and finds Paul Phillip. Wants to play on, does so onto the right boot, sends it long down towards half-forward, camped underneath the football. Making the spoil was Gregson for the Hawks. At the base of the pack, Dickinson ran away, kicked towards half-forward. Mark was dropped, it should have been taken there by Tapia. Still a chance for Papua New Guinea. Dropping the ball though was Major Alphonse, and he gives it up to Tiffany Thomas, who can pump it forward for New Zealand.
So Tiffany Thomas, one of the excitement machines for the Kiwis, goes long inside 50, big fly from in front there by Barclay Miller, couldn't pull it down. Ball still on the ground. Out the back, taking possession was John James, got it forward, I'll push in the back there surely, and it'll be coming to Tapia. So Tapia there for PNG.
New Zealand runner being given the instructions, get that half-forward line working harder for us. We're falling down badly there.
So ball now kicked up to the wing, missed the target there, was intended for Garoga. Now with New Zealand, and the kick forward by Howison.
And he found Johnson. Yes, it is Johnson who kicks up towards the forward pocket, but that's a pretty poor kick.
That's a waste.
Yeah, John James Levi uncontested. Back to the goal square, dangerous, puts some pressure on King. Has to find a man, and they run hard to provide the option. This is Scott Johnson. I'd love to see him jump for the clouds again as he did on Tuesday with a great mark against South Africa. Johnson goes short and finds Parika, who's come a long way up the ground. Kicks to the wing. Johnson does the roving. Front and centre, kicks towards half forward. Gregson knocks it to ground for New Zealand. Trying to work through was Jay Johnson. He was wrapped up in the tackle. Great play by Ace. And we'll have a ball up.
I was just watching behind the ball there, Troy. New Zealand, they've got a very good structure when that ball came over onto the fat side of the ground, didn't they?
Yeah, they set up really well, and at the other end, PNG setting up really well too.
So the handball backwards, it's going to be New Zealand to clear up to the wing. Working his opponent on the ball was Clark, but couldn't take it himself. Now going in hard and taking possession. Eventually claimed, got the kick away was Song. Now New Zealand win it back. Goes to Christensen, little handball, series of handballs in fact. Ends up with Faumolo. He runs round one, gets the handball away, had the loose player inside, had to find him, it did. Now goes backwards to McKenzie. McKenzie gives it off. There to Clark, he's claimed. Got the handball away, now Song. Handballs to Simon, has to wait for it, picks it up now, goes back to Song. Song, dangerous kick in the middle of the ground. They need to hold possession here. Oh, luck's a fortune, and it ends up with Garoga.
It was actually pretty well done by Ace. He saw the Papua New Guineans there and booted it out to him. Garoga kicks to the middle. Tiffany Thomas, was he caught high? No. Caught with the ball, Logo dispossessed. Here are the Kiwis to go. Through the agency of Tiffany Thomas, he goes up to half forward. Little nudge was okay. And the mark is taken by Miller.
Oh, PNG camp not happy.
He plays on, sees a man in the pocket, and the kick was poor. Pressure on McKenzie. He's got a couple to beat. And he runs over the line. That's good defence. And in the end, well, Miller probably should have went back and had a shot at goal rather than trying to be unselfish. He's cost his team a scoring opportunity.
Probably the idea was right. He had the loose player on. The execution was poor. Ball thrown back into play. Tapped down in front there by Puller. It's going to be PNG to take it forward. Tried to find a teammate there in Ace, but he couldn't work his way to the front. And it's going to be with the Kiwis out on the Great Southern Stand side of the ground. Umpire calls the play on. Long kick inside 50. Worked under the ball there was Miller. Ball goes to the back. Little handball into traffic. Was dangerous because coming through hard was Boyce. Couldn't take possession. They need to hold it up here. And they eventually does the Mosquitoes. And the umpire crosses himself and calls for a bounce 48 metres out directly in front.
Gee, Pooler's a goer in the ruck, isn't he? He's a big unit. He goes weird. Good.
Yeah, didn't play against South Africa the other day as King left the football behind. Hand pass back. Howison fed it out to Faimalo. Has a shot at goal and misses near side. Misalifi Faimalo from the North City Demons out of Wellington. 3-1 New Zealand, 2-2 Papua New Guinea after 11 minutes.
So kicking him to himself there was Tapia. Then a long kick out in the direction there of Akupu. Couldn't take the mark. Had teammate in support who kicks down the line. They'll look to get it out here, they do. And they'll set up again over on the far side of the ground. Troy, how are you seeing the action so far?
Well, it's a bit of back and forth. As you said, the Kiwis setting up very well on their half-back, and PNG, when you look out at their defence, they've got all the numbers set out, zoning off out there. Hard to break through.
Getting to the front of Kupu, thumped it down, but to no avail as Howison fed the handball over the top. They can build here. Dickinson, little hand pass, misses. Johnson the target. The second man in line was Donald Brown. They got it out to Clinch. Back he came, running hard for them. Again was Howison, the captain, who's had plenty of the football. He just keeps stepping through traffic, looking for someone to help him, and there was no one. Simon was caught high, took the free kick, played on quickly. Parika with the sit. Baker Thomas gets back and takes a strong mark for the Hawks.
Good defence there from Baker Thomas. Had to make the ground. Wasn't a great kick though. First one there was to Penny. Couldn't take the mark. Pack forms. Falmolo's in there as well. He can't extract the ball, and eventually the umpire calls for it.
Shane, New Zealand Hawks coach Rob Malone not happy. He gave the instruction at quarter time. 1, maximum 2 handballs and go forward.
So a little handball out there by Song. Finds the teammate with the high kick. There was Phillip, but getting back and taking a strong mark in defence for New Zealand.
Brandon Suku brought it out towards the wing. Ball thumped to ground by Mackenzie, slipping at the crucial stage. Donald Brown, it came to Famalo. Fed it out wide to Clinch, stepped around one, threaded it through the eye of the needle to Mackenzie. So Sam Mackenzie on centre wing for New Zealand from the Mount Roskill Saints in Auckland. Gives a hand pass back to Leet, steps through traffic. They're fleet of foot, New Zealand at the moment. Kicks towards half forward, getting back and knocking the ball to ground was Major Jambarufo. Left behind, this is crucial there from Tapini, gave the Kiwis a chance. Miller, can he pick it up? Got the hand pass over, tapped on by Clark. Worked towards the line, it got away from Howison. And the Mosquitoes will come out of defence through Logo.
So Logo taking the mark in defence. So kicks looking to switch. That is not a good kick, but getting there and taking the mark is Terang. So Terang now feeds the handball off. They're lucky to get away with that, Papua New Guinea, because he didn't really cross the goals with the switch. Comes out wide now, trying to keep it in is Phillip, and unable to do so. We'll have a boundary throw in here. 14 minutes gone in this second term. It is New Zealand 3-1-19 leading Papua New Guinea 2-2-14.
Inside 50 certainly favouring the Kiwis, but not able to put it on the scoreboard.
Just 1 goal apiece in this second quarter. As the throw-in favours Akupu. He won it down. Simon, can he break through? He can't. Out the back, it was fumbled there by Morgan. Still the Kiwis go. Tiffany Thomas, little hand pass in. Mackenzie, clever tap on. Fumble and a slip from Howison. Working through was Pooler, the big fella. Can he get it away? No. Hand pass back from Donald Brown. Booted to the 50. Another chest mark dropped for Papua New Guinea by John James Levi. That's unusual. Flicked out by Miller. Umpire says push. And a free kick to the Mosquitoes on the defensive 50.
Yeah, good captaincy there from John James too. One of his teammates there in Pula was getting stuck into the opponent. He said, we've got the ball, leave it be. So kick now, out on the wing. Numbers with Papua New Guinea. It's taken by Ace. He's been very good so far. Kicks around towards half forward. Now the punch away was going to favour the Papua New Guinea inside. All going in hard there, and winning the free kick was Larvai. That is Max Larvai. And a much-deserved free kick too. A little bit crude there by the New Zealand opponent.
You don't do anything silly, see where you came in to remonstrate.
So Larvai now kicks down the line. And on the end of it is Amuamaza Parika again. He's got two already. He might be hurt here.
I think he was just given the old ear massage from Baker Thomas.
Well, Spud Frall will be watching. He'll be proud, that's for sure.
Gave a few on this ground, I think, the Spud.
So Parika.
Going to have to kick just outside 50 here, Shane.
So I think he's probably out of his range. He's looking around for options. He doesn't look that confident.
No, I reckon he's got the distance.
Troy Thompson sees a lot of Parika.
What's going on? Hang on.
Yes,
Feeds it off now to Pia. Now goes one way, then the next kick was smothered. So it's going to be New Zealand first. Back there's going to be Rattenberry. Happy to see it over the boundary line and over for a throw-in with just 1.5 minutes remaining in the second term.
You had more faith in him than he did, Troy.
Oh, I've seen him kick a few big ones, certainly from that distance.
The handball probably wasn't the right option. New Zealand read it pretty well. Boundary throw in inside 50, one down by Akupu, still looking to really get into the game. Caught was Leet, fed out to Kuzel, he threw it on the boot, got it out to the wing. That's a good long kick, but it's going to come back. A strong mark taken for the Mosquitoes by Tapia. Time running away from them. Tapia kicks up towards half forward, camped under the football. Was Logo, couldn't take the mark. Baker Thomas is a hold. And a little bit to go on with.
Papua New Guinea, they want to stay out of this at the moment. They've got the kick.
Ace has got the free kick for high contact. You saw what happened. I was following the ball, Shane.
Yeah, I think he might have just been fouled a little bit behind play there, Ace. So
absolutely was.
So there's a little bit of frustration in the Kiwi defence, and this kick from Ace will be after the siren to give the Mosquitoes the lead at the main break. So it's probably the biggest kick that young Ace Owago Pauloya has had in his young career so far, Troy Thompson.
Yeah, look, his teammates just a bit upset that the young fella copped that attention off the ball and in trying to back him up.
He needs to keep his mouth shut just for a minute or so, Parika, and allow Ace to take the kick. Huge kick in the context of this game. After the halftime siren,
that's the confidence.
Ace kicks the goal, and Papua New Guinea go to the break in front. 3-2-20 the Mosquitoes. New Zealand 3-1-19. That is a big moment in the context of this game, Troy Thompson.
Oh, just fantastic for them to take the lead with that kick, and as I said, has the confidence on the young fella to just go back and kick that, no worries at all. PNG looking much better in the second half of that quarter, and New Zealand had been doing a good job in getting the numbers back and sticking them in front of Parika, spoiling it. He did get on a lead there late in the quarter, but they needed something else, and Ace was the man.
Just a little bit of extra balance too for them in defence. The forward line for New Zealand just weren't functioning enough, and as we've seen a lot of times, and everybody knows it when you're following the AFL, one side will have a lot of possession of the footy, the other team go forward and bang, and that's exactly what happened there. And you mentioned confidence. It was almost arrogance. Young Ace just went back, drilled it, stood his ground, just raised two arms, and just showed what a little bit of confidence can do, and certainly they got that late in that second quarter. Troy, you're spot on, because it took them a while, I think, to find their feet. The greasy conditions, I think, now starting to play a little bit toward Papua New Guinea's strength. The Mosquitoes are loving the in and under. They really are working it very hard. And I know that Rob Malone was furious during that second quarter. He gave the instructions at the first break, maximum two handballs, kick the ball, and they just messed around. But that's the pressure that the Mosquitoes are applying. I'm going to be very, very interested in these halftime huddles just to see what these coaches have got to say, boys.
So Hawago Pauloya, or Ace, 15 years old, the Oilman Kakofas out of Port Moresby, the only one from his team who is playing today. Bobagai, of course, missing out the 17-year-old, but certainly got a big future. And as I said, Shane, earlier on, played for Queensland in the Under-16 National Championships, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on over the next few years.
No, he certainly will be. Just the talent, he just oozes talent, and on such a big occasion, a big stage, he's stepping up for his team, and not only just kicking that goal, but throughout the first half, he has been absolutely everywhere, and you'd really hope that a couple of the AFL sides, two that are certainly playing here today, are paying attention.
Yeah, no question. Goal scorers for Papua New Guinea. Amua Mazaparika has 2, and ace with that goal after the halftime siren for New Zealand. Sam McKenzie and Barclay Miller kicked goals in the first quarter, and Jay Johnson in the second. Gave them a handy little lead before the Mosquitoes fought back. We might take a quick break here at the MCG, guys, and when we return, it'll be the second half. Troy Thompson for World Footy News, Noel Watson and Shane Fleming for Central Murray Live, and I'm Brendan Rhodes for Casey Radio for AFL International Cup 2017. We'll be back with you shortly. Papua New Guinea 3-2-20. New Zealand 3-1-19 at halftime. welcome back to the MCG as we get ready for the second half of the AFL International Cup 2017 Grand Final. Papua New Guinea with a goal after the halftime siren, 3-2-20, leading New Zealand 3-1-19. Let's head straight down to the boundary line with Noel Watson.
I want to just continue with one little aspect of their game. It's an interesting one. Torque. They want to increase the torque around the ball so they can get a little bit of clearance. But I tell you what, Papua New Guinea absolutely delighted with the endeavour, and that was the key word that was used by their coach David Lake. Just maintain the endeavour. The breeze now is to left of commentary, so it's just going to be favouring the NZers. This is their quarter. They know that. It has to be a big one for them.
Noel Watson, Troy Thompson, Brendan Rhodes, and here's Shane Fleming with the third quarter.
Ball tapped down there by Namidi, but straight to the opposing ruckman in Smith, who got it off there to Howison, the skipper for the Kiwis, and we're going to get another ball up inside the middle of the ground. So a very similar start to the start of the game, starting the second half. As neither ruckman able to get the clear tap. Smith goes in, gets it again, it comes to Namidi, gets a quick kick away, but it's followed up there by Morgan with a kick. Now it comes down, reading the play best there was Johnson front and centre. He lost the ball though, gets it now to Mackenzie. Now with Papua New Guinea comes to John James, quick kick forward to Rang, takes possession. Oh, tried to get the kick away, got smothered though. Now Johnson, little handball with the Kiwis, comes now to Mackenzie. It's around one, couldn't get around the second. Now gets the handball backwards. Quick kick forward there by Simpson. Still with New Zealand. Losing it there was Mackenzie. And we're going to get a ball up, I think. Yes, eventually the umpire crosses himself. And we'll have a bounce here at half forward for New Zealand.
Troy Thompson, what does New Zealand need to do to get back on top in this game?
Oh, look, I think they need to go back to getting their structures and getting the ball out. I think playing it in close on PNG's terms is not going to work for them.
Kick was smothered by Namidi, who picked up the loose ball, went with the 1-2, the Mosquitoes' defence, but the wild kick from King lands on the interchange roof and out of bounds on the full. She'll be driven back short for the Hawks.
I don't think Noel would ever have thought of getting a possession on the MCG before.
I nearly took a screamer over the back. You probably saw that on camera too, boys.
Can be aiming for it. I challenge you to get a couple of kicks by the end of the game if you can, Noel. Andy Howison, the captain for New Zealand, drives it back in towards forward 50. All the numbers with Papua New Guinea. Lack of torque meant Aki couldn't take the mark. He went with the double fister. Hand pass out to John James. He went further afield. Pressure on Howison behind the football. Diving into the contest, John James. And the umpire calls in for a ball up.
John James and Howison there both contesting the ball. You would think that that's probably a fairly important matchup there, those two. They're very important contributors to their teams.
Close to their best player so far, the skipper Howison.
Certainly has been. And getting the high contact there was Wartovo. He receives the free kick here on the members' wing at the MCG. Runs around, sells some candy. Then goes up towards the 50. Coming from behind there was Benno. Couldn't take it. In there as well was Johnson for PNG. But it's going to be New Zealand. And heading out in the direction there of Parika. Going over the top there is Simon.
Simon. Parika did have space, but it was too far afield, I thought, for Gideon Simon. So he chips it in short, and that is a lace-out pass to Johnson. There were 4 Kiwis around him on the lead, and I don't think Simon could have hit him any better.
I don't think they saw him coming. His speed is electric, isn't it, out of that forward zone?
Took a mark of the year contender on Tuesday against South Africa.
Certainly mark of the tournament anyway.
Yeah, no question about that. Scott Johnson, if he kicks this goal, it'll be more important than that. From 48 metres out. He hasn't got the journey. Off hands it goes. Smith, did he drop it? Umpire said, well, he must have got rid of it fairly. He was then held on too long, and Ty Smith will get the free kick for New Zealand in the last line of defence.
So Smith now deep in the back line. There's not a lot of movement from the New Zealand team, so he ends up just kicking for distance. It's out wide, looking for the captain there in Howison, but front position. And that was Johnson again. Song, was it? It was Song, and he's going back. He's very, very confident, Troy. Has he got the journey?
No, he's giving it off.
Obviously not. Just as I said that, he gives the handball off. The long shot at goal is just offline from Tapia. And it is through for one behind. So they go to 3-3. They lead New Zealand 3-1.
55-metre kick covered the journey easily to Pia. Tiffany Thomas has it for New Zealand in the opposite back pocket. Sent it down towards the wing. Christensen could have got one in the back. Front and centre. Phillip gave it to Aisi. Turns back inboard and kicks towards half forward. Dickinson's got the sit. And will take a safe mark here for the Kiwis on the back flank. He goes short and finds the skipper in Howison.
Howison starting to get busy for the Hawks. At half back, they trail by 2 points, goes out wide. And taking the mark there was Johnson, now plays on. Johnson long inside 50, having to come from behind was Donald Brown, but taking the mark was Larvite, that was John James, now looking to switch the play.
He brings it across the defensive goal square to Namiti. Short again to King, who's had a fair bit of it for the Mosquitoes. Looks long for Watovo, bounced off his chest. And over the line for a boundary throw-in.
Tell you what, the defending champions here, the Mosquitoes, they're loving this in and under, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't mind it at all. And when it breaks out, the pace is going to trouble New Zealand and is already troubling New Zealand. One down in the front spot by Howison, who's even doing the ruck work now. King to Watovo, good hand pass Simon, well read by Baker Thomas, but the support was there from King. Kicks up towards half forward, Parika gets to the front spot, couldn't take the mark. Aces at the back, Benno tried to tap it through. Desperation plus from the Kiwi defence, managed to create the turnover. This is Simpson. Fed it on to Hick, who goes towards the wing. Mark dropped by Namiti. Leet worked it out, looking for Hick, couldn't find him. Head down over the ball, and Gideon Simon wins the free kick.
Been very good this afternoon so far, Simon. Into the middle of the ground, that's a dangerous kick. If they can open up the play, taking the mark and then feeding the handball off to Tapia, who kicks long inside 50. New Zealand sitting underneath it, should mark. Doesn't. There was Baker Thomas. Now goes out the back of the pack. So ball with New Zealand. Kick now intended for Clark. Oh, one-handed grab was good. Great effort there from Brendan Clark. And he marks at half back.
He's done a really good job on Watovo so far. And the short pass is a half volley. And the umpire says no mark. Barclay Miller asks the question, but he's not going to get any luck out of that. So a ball up just around from our broadcast position. One down by Smith, working his way through Hick. Fed the handball, looking through traffic, slipping over at the crucial stage. There was Phillip, picked up by Penny. He's gone out of it a bit in the last quarter or so. Kuzel makes a good spoil on a Kupu and goes for a run. He's got Howison in a mountain of space. Howison sets it up. He thought about Miller in the goal square. He decided to take it on himself. And, well, he probably should have passed. He's pushed it across the face, Howison, and through for one behind, which cuts the margin to a point again.
So ball brought back into play, but it was dropped on the kick out. Now it comes back to Tapia. Oh, goes one way, then the next. Eventually gets rid of his opponent. Kicks out of defence, going back with courage. There was Kusel. Couldn't take the mark, so still with Papua New Guinea. Now, kick out onto the far side of the ground. Chasing after it was Benno. Couldn't quite keep it in play, and eventually goes over for a boundary throw-in. 8 minutes played here in this third term, and it is a 1 point margin in the Division 1 Grand Final. Papua New Guinea 3-3-21, leading New Zealand 3-2-20.
Coming up limping out of that contest, Michael Boyce. They could ill afford to lose another one, the Kiwis. Andrew Suku out of action with a hamstring in the second quarter. Stepping around is Benno. Thought about the handball. In the end, kicked to half forward. Watovo can't keep it in under pressure from Baker Thomas. And over for a throw-in. How big is the loss of Suku, Troy?
A very important defender for them. Really drives that defence in every game we've seen through the tournament so far. So, yeah, definitely can't afford to lose another defender.
Ball thrown back into play. Smith with the little tap down in front. Ball on the ground. Faumolo tries to keep it in. Can't do so. Now comes out Tiffany Thomas. He's been a little bit quiet so far. He's been one of the live wires of the tournament. Handball comes out now to Donald Brown. Poor kick though. It's
numbers
all
out
Papua
on the
New
wing
Guinea.
here.
And they have the numbers on the far side, on the near side of the ground too.
Archie can go for a run. He finds the man running up for him was Ace, gave it across to Levi. John James kicks inside 50. Parika on the lead. And you could see it coming from a long way out. And Parika can line up for goal number 3. And this is certainly not beyond him, Troy Thompson.
No, definitely well within range.
So, Amua Parika from the Central Bombers of Port Moresby. Big kick this, the second highest goal scorer in the tournament. And he has hung it out to the right. A disappointing result there. Margin is 2 in favour of the Mosquitoes.
A little bit of space just shows what can happen if you move the ball quickly. And that's exactly what happened. They almost got the extra goal, the Mozzies.
So Kusel kicks to himself, brings it back into play, going for distance. High kick out towards the far side of the ground. Good strong mark taken there by the Kiwis. I think that might be Mackenzie, who kicks down the line, short one over the top. Finds a teammate there in Liam Beattie, gives the handball off. Now they're away and running. High kick, numbers at the back. Oh, little fist down in front by Barclay Miller. Comes out now to Johnson, runs to 55. Smith over the back if it can get to him. Oh, bounces off his chest, couldn't quite take the mark. Now Simon comes in, gives the handball away. They'll look to clear now, will Papua New Guinea.
Long kick out from Aisi to the wing. Arriving was Johnson, had 3 to beat. Ball brought to ground and then low contact diving in. Free kick and advantage taken by Baker Thomas. Howison has it. 60 metres from home for the Kiwis. For the Hawks. He kicks in towards full forward, looking for Miller, not quite. Ball to ground level. Diving into the contest there was John James. Stepping through traffic, Simon.
Oh, he's gone!
He's been pinged. It wasn't a fair handball. And Carlos Donald Brown let him know about it too and was probably lucky not to give it back with the rub on the top of the head. But a huge kick this for New Zealand, and Jackson Clinch from the North Shore Tigers of Auckland can put the Hawks back in front.
Just noticed that the Kiwis have managed to get some good numbers into their forward line. I don't know whether PNG are playing a bit forward of the ball now, not setting up quite so well, and it's given them a couple of opportunities here in the last few minutes.
A kick from about 38 metres out, Jackson Clinch. Kicks nicely, it looks good. Just to the near side. Couldn't come back on the line. And behind to Jackson Clinch, the margin back to 1.
The Claridown here are getting into it. I tell you what, they are really giving both sides plenty of effort.
Tapia short to Max Larvi, who's kicked for King, has missed the target. It's gone out on the full.
Another one for Noel.
So to be taken now by Hick. The umpire's asking to come back on his line. So Benjamin Hick now, 70 out from home. Sits it up. Oh, not a great kick. Going there was Benno, couldn't trap the ball. Gets a second opportunity now, gives it back to King. King tackled, had to get rid of it, does. Now gives it off to John James. Oh, his kick straight to the opponent in Hick, who then spots up the loose player inside 50 in Donald Brown. And Carlos Donald Brown will go back and have a shot almost directly in front, 40 metres out.
Just right place, right time, wasn't it, Ben Hick? And he had the presence of mind to actually cling onto the football and then find a target when he wouldn't have been expecting to get his hands on the ball at all.
Boys, this is game on, isn't it? This is really game on stuff.
So Donald Brown now, only 18 years of age. So he too is one of the young players gracing the MCG today. Comes in, kick, has it got the legs? It certainly has. It's straight through the middle. And New Zealand are in front. They go to 4-3-27, leading Papua New Guinea 3-4-22. 13 and a half minutes gone in the third term. Shane,
ground level. That ball barely carried through to the actual goal umpire at head height. All the players didn't think he was going to make the distance. They were well forward of it, and it barely carried through. But I tell you what, an important goal. 5-point lead to the Hawks.
Seen that happen a few times throughout the tournament with the pack on the line being dragged forward to the front of the goal square and it just getting over the back. Ball one down in the centre by Akupu. He's gone into the ruck to try and get into the game. Garoga won the clearance for Papua New Guinea at the back, having a rest and snapping around the corner for the quick reply. is Laurie Logo, who has had some sort of a tournament. And it's a goal to Papua New Guinea. They are back in front. 14 minutes gone in the third quarter. Clyde Pooler, in fact,
Clyde
with the
Pooler.
goal.
Yeah, Clyde Pooler.
The corner, and just the answer that they wanted. And the Papua New Guinea boys, I tell you what, the Mosquitoes, they've got a big crowd in behind me where I'm standing. They're getting very, very vocal, and why wouldn't they? What a snap.
So back in the middle. Tap down there by, that was Morgan. Going to ground, ball's not coming out of there. And the last man up is Gideon Simon. He's had a very good game this afternoon. Ball thrown up, maybe shepherding the other ruckman off the contest there was Morgan, but the umpire let it go. Eventually it's a free kick. It's going to go the way of New Zealand. Pointed in the wrong direction, so it goes to Simon. Kicks up towards half forward, unable to take the mark. Bouncing off his chest there was Johnson. And New Zealand through Suku. Little handball wide. The loose player leading forward, but coming off and reading the play very well there was Aisi. And it's Papua New Guinea from half back.
Willie Aisi short, just finds the target, which is Johnson, who is running around covering plenty of territory. Not a good kick, puts some pressure on his teammates. Up to the task is Phillip, fed the hand pass through, taken by Aisi again, and he got run down from behind.
I think Phillip might be hurt here behind.
That's Major. Major is a bit sore. Jambaruso kicks up towards half forward for the Kiwis, and Hick takes the mark. Ben Hick kicks straight into the man on the mark. Good play by the Mosquitoes. Gathered by Siwi. Swings onto the outside of the boot. Johnson at half forward. Really looking dangerous now. Chips towards the pocket. It's a little bit wide for Benno. And Morgan is happy to run it over for a throw in. It's really on for young and old here at the moment. New Zealand had a good run there of 5 or 6 minutes, and now the Mosquitoes are working back on top.
So, we'll tap down to the front of the contest. No one able to take clean possession at the moment. Good tackle there by Suku. And we'll get another ball up.
Thought the Mosquitoes might have taken that player straight off, but they're going to bring him across the ground, which is going to cost them a player because he cannot take any further part.
Minute till three-quarter time.
A wrist problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
So ball now tapped away for PNG. Oh, getting smothered there was Gideon Simon. That was a good smother there by Liam Beattie. Still with PNG though, the high ball sitting underneath it. Unable to take the mark was Parika. He's the danger man. But going back with courage there was Baker Thomas.
Joe Baker Thomas goes long to the outer side with the sit was Phillip, but they were both under the football. Here's a chance for the Kiwis. Morgan drew the man, hand pass to the running teammate. Mackenzie will get run down. They took too long, New Zealand. Turnover time is their time. Benno for Papua New Guinea. Ace fed the hand pass across. They can build now. Aisi got it from Phillip. Back to Phillip. Kicks over the top. Chance now for the Kiwis to wrap it up. Akupu was caught by two Hawks. And we'll have a ball up, and that will just about do us for the third quarter as we tick down and wait for the siren. It was 1 point at halftime. It is still 1 point, turning for home here at the MCG in the International Cup Grand Final of 2017. Papua New Guinea looking to defend their title. New Zealand looking to reclaim it, having last won 12 years ago. They'll be keen to get back on top. Papua New Guinea 4-4-28. New Zealand 4-3-27. Goal scorers for the Mosquitoes, Parika with 2, Ace and Pooler. And for New Zealand, Mackenzie, Miller, Johnson and Donald Brown. Troy Thompson for World Footy News. How did you see it?
Well, quick transitions obviously the key here. We saw both teams, when they were able to move the ball quickly, get goals. The defence is pretty well organised for both sides, and the only way to get around that is to make sure that you're direct and quick. So I think New Zealand really need to be looking to be very deliberate when they're going forward here on who they're kicking to. The PNG boys zone off very well, drop in front and work the ball out again. So unless they're actually hitting targets, it's going to be very hard for them to get in front.
It's down the ground. Fortunately, Major Alphonse has done a shoulder. It looked pretty bad too, and Daryl White just indicated to me no further game, obviously, so he's in a fair bit of trouble there. So it's unfortunate for him when his side absolutely battling, as we've mentioned, you know, continuing on as, well, the reigning champions as it stands, 4-4-28, 4 goals, 3-27, and about midway beautifully in so much that the change took place. The Hawks had all of the play, and all of a sudden the Mosquitoes started to fight back. And it has been a titanic struggle, basically from the word go, hasn't it? And you know, a couple of the bigger blokes, I think, standing up for both sides. And young Ace, what an excitement machine, boys. He's just terrific to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, no question about that. He's got a big future, and I'm sure there'll be AFL clubs starting to track his progress as a possible international recruit over the next couple of years, remembering he's only 15 years of age.
Boys, where can you see it going from here? It's a 1-point game. It's been 1 point all the way. Anybody want to put their hand up and snap one here?
I'm sticking with the Mosquitoes.
Brendan's
I just
on.
think their pace on this big ground as the game runs down towards its conclusion might just be enough to get them home.
Well, I did tip New Zealand at the start of the day, and to be honest, the confidence is wavering a little bit with the way that the PNG boys are certainly running. You think that they'll probably finish this quarter full of legs, but I can see out on the ground and in between both huddles at the moment there is the what they're playing for, the trophy at the moment for the Division 1 title. So that'll be just a little bit extra motivation for this last 17.5 minutes.
Shane, Papua New Guinea, the Mosquitoes will be kicking to left, if you like, at broadcast, which has been the way the ball is carried slightly further each time. So I'm sure we should watch out for the bigger blokes getting around the pack, which we saw a couple of times then. The squirt handball comes out and they just unload. So they're trying the little cheeky handball off and go long. So it'll be interesting to see if they try that manoeuvre towards centre half forward as they kick toward that left of screen.
And both teams now a player down, so even though Major Alphonse Jambarufo hasn't had a big impact on the game yet, it balances out the loss of Andrew Siku, the key defender for New Zealand, Troy.
Yeah, I think we have seen very accurate kicking from New Zealand when they've had the set shots, so it's just going to be very important for them to get the ball in long to those big guys and make sure they can convert on the scoreboard. A
little bit difference in the coaches here too, boys. David Lake really animated, and that's for the Mosquitoes, and Rob Malone very considered, very quiet, just making sure that everybody understands their roles. So it'll be interesting to see here what comes out on top, whether the enthusiasm of the Mosquitoes or the structure of the Hawks. All important last quarter, 1 point lead to the Mosquitoes.
Yeah, we must give a plug to the umpires today who have done a fantastic job to work their way through the tournament and qualify for selection for this game. Jack Cannon, Michael McGuinness and Nicholas Van Schoot blowing the whistles, and they've done a fantastic job for the most part. We haven't had any real cause to question what they've done today. Aidan Miller, Connor Callanan, James Benby and Harrison Hasuris are running the boundary. Frank DeCosmo and James Rizzio waving the flags in the goals. And this is a great story. Oscar Ayardi from AFL Europe is acting as the emergency umpire, which is great to see as well.
Maybe they'll give him a run.
Maybe do. If the game gets tight, send him out there and see if he can make a decision that doesn't affect the game, I suppose.
What an experience for all those umpires to umpire this International Cup Grand Final on the MCG.
Umpires, players and commentators all together with a great day and a great moment here at the mighty Melbourne Cricket Ground. There's 1 quarter to go. There's 1 point the difference. Who is going to bring home the International Cup for 2017? For Noel Watson, Troy Thompson, I'm Brendan Rhodes, and here's Shane Fleming.
So Akupu in the ruck to start the last quarter and gets the tap down. Tried to get it to Song, but can't take possession. Comes to Tiffany Thomas, a little handball to himself, but getting in there and affecting the spoil. There was Phillip. Now high kick up towards half forward, or bouncing off the chest there of the New Zealand player. Couldn't take the mark. Simon ducks the head, gets the handball away though. Oh, went through the legs there of Benno. Going to ground there heavy was Ace as well over the top of the pack. And we're going to get a ball up right on the attacking 50 for the Mosquitoes as they trail, or they lead rather, by 1 point.
Right on the top of the 50, working through Howison, who's been huge, a real captain's game, but this time he's been caught, and Laurie Logo will get the free kick. Too far out to score. Man on the mark at 55.
Not looking to dish this one off.
He's going to load up to the top of the square. Puts it to the hot spot. The fly, Johnson! Couldn't quite. He almost did it again. But it's New Zealand who'll run away through Tiffany Thomas. And he'll get the clearing kick outside defence. Stepping back inside is Christensen. Tiffany Thomas ran on. Back to Christensen. Umpire says Tiffany Thomas was dragged down off the ball and he'll get the free kick.
So Tiffany Thomas now half back for the Kiwis. Looking to move the ball, just a short little chip up. Coming in from behind there was Terang, couldn't take the mark. Now comes to Howison, the skipper. Kicks up to the wing, Johnson. Takes possession, it's all PNG around him though. He has to kick over the pack, he'd be hoping to get it out. And eventually it does go over the boundary in front of the Mosquitoes captain in John James. And we will have a boundary throw in about 70 out from home for the Kiwis.
So 2 minutes gone in the final quarter. International Cup 2017. The Mosquitoes lead the Hawks by a point. Ikupu brought it to ground in the front. Lavai, Max couldn't get clear. Simon dives into the contest with Liam Beattie. And we'll have another ball up. Crucial stage of this game. If New Zealand get the first goal, it could really provide the momentum that they need as Hick is caught. And the umpire says, give it to me once more. Smith up against Akupu. Akupu won it down. Tap out to Simon. Slipped at the crucial stage. Fed the hand pass through to Phillip. Put it out in front of Benno, who got the front and centre. Goes with Parika. Thought about the handball a couple of times. In the end, had to rush a kick. And that was a great piece of play from Jay Johnson to put the pressure on, force the kick out on the full. And then he let Parika know about it too.
Certainly did. Boyce now to bring the ball back into play. High ball. Akupu worked underneath it. Umpire said that was okay. Laurie Logo, first one back there, puts on the afterburners, has to kick, he's run his full measure. Eventually does, but he's turned it over. Faumolo, too far out to score, centering ball to Howison. Need to find a target inside 50 here, does the skipper.
Wants it back for Marlowe.
Howison now goes in that direction. Faumolo down low, takes the mark about 48 metres out from home. You'll think the journey's probably a little bit too far for him.
They completely left him alone there, the Papua New Guinea defence. He was screaming for the ball for a good 10 seconds before it went in that direction.
So Faumolo now from 52, gets underneath it. Don't think it's quite got the legs. Tiffany Thomas, the fly from the side, or going in hard and low, and receiving the free kick there will be Akupu, and he will take it deep in defence for PNG.
The big John Akupu in the goal square at the wrong end of the ground for the Mosquitoes. Brought it outside 50. Logo back with the flight, takes a good mark. Wants to move quickly and does so now. Puts it out towards the wing, looking for the big fella in Namiti, who took the mark and played on quickly. Drove it towards the 50. A long, hard lead onto Siwi. Takes it just outside the 50. The crowd getting right into this one now at the MCG. Siwi, too far out to score, you would think. Man on the marks at 51, Brandon Suku. So he'll go for the handball again. They've played that a fair bit today. The kick towards the top of the goal square from Tapia. Free kick in the goal square going to New Zealand, and Tiffany Thomas will be able to relieve.
So Tiffany Thomas now deep in defence, short chip. Out towards Boyce, didn't quite take it. Now had some trouble, but was good enough to get away from it. Kicks out towards Faumolo, has 3 to beat. Did well there because he was in a bit of trouble. Comes down now towards AEC. His kick goes out of bounds on the full. It'll be a free kick to New Zealand, and it is a quick score check. Papua New Guinea still 1 point in front, 4-4-28. New Zealand 4-3-27. 5 minutes gone in this final term of the grand final.
Boyce with the footy, still a little bit proppy on that ankle. Brought it out to the wing. Howison takes a strong mark. Tell you what, he's best on ground if the Kiwis get over the line here. Kicks into the centre of the ground and finds Brandon Suku. Defensive side of the centre circle. Suku will go to the outer side. He's got Faumolo on his own. Finds him. He's managed to find a bit of space in this last quarter so far. Faumolo Plays on towards half forward. It's been marked by Clark. Plays on quickly. Got it to the advantage of Beattie, who kicks up and under towards half forward. Backing himself was a Donald Brown. Couldn't get through. Chance for Logo. Little kick on it. Front and centre. Back behind the pack is Hick. Wrapped up by Simon, who would be the contender for best on ground if the Mosquitoes won, you would think. He's been magnificent as well. We have a ball up just forward of centre for New Zealand.
So Kupu wins the tap, kicks towards Johnson there, but a little tap from behind by Simpson. They're in a little bit of trouble here, New Zealand. It's been turned over to Meady. Gives the handball off to Simon. A measured kick up towards the 50. Can't take the mark there. Parika, still he goes. Turnover, comes to Howison. He's got trouble though. Little handball away was good. Now the quick kick sits up for Dickinson, and he takes the mark at half back.
Dickinson out wide. Faimolo, they need to get on him out there. He'll end up hurting them. Spears a ball inboard to Jay Johnson for the Kiwis, for the Hawks. He kicks up towards half forward. Back with the fly to the ball. Oh, they've spoiled each other. JJ Levi brought the ball back to ground. And a ball up will be the result. A lack of communication there hurts the Aussies.
Tell you what, Howison was on to if they'd got the handle on the footy. He was clear.
So tap down there by Papua New Guinea. That was a Kupu again. Going in hard, there was Phillip. Taking possession still with PNG. Little handball away there by Max Larvai. Now the kick up to the wing. Foot races on. Can Ace get there first? He can't, but it's still he goes. He's going to get a second chance at it, though. He does. Good work from Ace. Handballs backwards to Simon. He's in trouble. Gets it out, though. Now the number in the middle is Johnson. Oh, should have gone by hands. Wasn't good enough. It opens up now for New Zealand through the middle of the ground.
It's with Kusel in the circle. Goes short. Finds his target, which is Christensen. Still a couple of kicks from home is Christensen. We're ticking towards the halfway mark of this final quarter. Bumped off the football was Brandon Suku. Umpire calls for a ball up. But one player who we haven't seen much of at all, Troy, is JJ Penny. We might see if we can spot whether he's out there or whether he's off injured, because he's been very quiet since quarter time. Brandon Suku fed the hand pass out wide. Here's a chance now for King. Free kick behind the play. Dealt with for a little bit too long was Jackson Clinch, and he'll get the free kick for the Hawks.
So they need to maintain possession here. They've got to hit a deliberate target.
So Clinch now goes into the pocket. The pack will fly, but from behind, unable to take the mark. And he should have held onto it too. There was James Kursel.
Penny is out
off
there.
The chest.
Not
for a throw-in.
Not the way to hit a target, Troy, is it? Just up and under?
Nah, the PNG defenders are just doing too good a job of getting in there and spoiling.
Throw in inside 50 for New Zealand. One down by Akupu. The bounce doesn't favour Rattenbury. Chance for Simon. Couldn't get away from Hick. And Brandon Suku was happy to see it over the line. And I think the players made that decision for the boundary, who wasn't going to blow his whistle, Shane.
I think the poor old boundary, he might have been a little bit blindsided there. Probably needed his mate on the other side to bark for him, but ball thrown back into play. Kupu with the tap from the front. Comes to New Zealand now. Kusel tried to break free, couldn't do so. Little handball forward, comes to a Kupu. High up and under ball. Sitting underneath it there was Siwi. Couldn't take the mark. Simone goes in hard as well. Players crashing in from everywhere at the moment. It is a hot footy. Been playing almost 10 minutes. Still yet to be a score in this final term. It is PNG by 1 point in the grand final.
Ikupu won it down. Trying to go through was Siwi. Couldn't do so. We'll have another ball up.
Boys, we'll send Kersey to the rule book if there's a draw.
Well, we do know the rules.
If it is a rule, yeah, it will go to Golden Point. It will just keep play. Will just keep going.
The siren does not sound. They keep playing until the next score. We saw that in a women's match at the start of the tournament. It's with Dickinson. He kicks up towards half forward. Getting there is Howison. Andy Howison at centre half forward. A real captain's game he's played today. Sees a man on the lead on his own.
Yeah, poor marking.
And Christensen takes the mark. 42 metres out. Yeah, they should have been onto that. And Andy Christensen who plays just down the road for the South Melbourne Swans. That'd be South Melbourne districts in the lower divisions of the amateur competition. A huge kick this. Centre half forward at the MCG. It's off target. It probably hasn't got the legs. Oh, almost Miller. Stayed in play. Quick handball out. This is Johnson. Jay Johnson towards the goal. Miller. The hero of Tuesday has a chance to be the hero of Saturday. Barclay Miller to line up from 15 metres out.
On the replay, was that out of bounds before the kick?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
Barclay Miller, 10 metres out, 45-degree angle to put the Hawks in front. No!
Scores a level.
Scores a level. Golden point is in play. And the Irish watching this, their hearts would have sunk with that kick.
So the ball kicked out and a good strong mark from behind by Baker Thomas. So it will be coming straight back in. Good mark over the top of a Kupu there. Baker Thomas, 70 from home, sits it up. Still plenty of time. Pack forms, it's plenty of mosquitoes there at the fall of the ball. Gets it out now to King. Matthew King off out of the back pocket. Not a great option. He sent it straight back to Baker Thomas, who takes the mark for the Kiwis.
He'll be cool, calm and collected here. He'll hold on to it for as long as he needs to and try and find a target. Drives long towards full forward at the back. Unable to get clear was Max Levi. Little hand pass came free. Head down over the football, McKenzie. And a ball up right at the top of the goal square.
Desperate stuff when you're playing for your nation to win the International Cup.
Certainly is.
Under 5 minutes to go. And scores a level. Another ball up will result here.
Important to remember for the players that are out there, stay calm. There is still 5 minutes to go. There's plenty of time left in this game. Tap forward by Akupu, just trying for distance. Maybe held there. Umpire agreed. It was against Falmolo for the hole. And it will be coming to Papua New Guinea. King has to come back over the mark, however.
Make sure it was seen, didn't he?
He sure did. Mosquitoes now looking to switch the play at the far side of the ground. Taken now by EC. Kicks down the line to Ace. He's got the player running forward in Johnson. Takes the mark. Wanted to go. Decided against it. Short pass now to King. On the wing, holding possession here at PNG. Now it's their turn to attack. The high ball, getting down underneath it there, but couldn't quite get there in time was Namidi. And the kick into the middle finds Falmolo.
Falmolo gives the hand pass back. Oh, it's been stolen. Taken away by Tapia. Kicks into full forward. At the back, open goal. He's missed it.
They're in front though.
They are in front. Oh, unbelievable. That could have made it really hard for the Hawks. But Qatar, Paulius Siwi misses at the top of the goal square and gives the ball back to New Zealand.
Looking down the box, looking down the boxes too, guys, and all the other stations are enthralled in the contest as well. Comes now to Ace, little handball out, comes to Garoga. Garogas paddles in front of him. A goal here will make it very hard for New Zealand, but taking the mark in defence is Baker Thomas.
Coast to coast footy, boys, it has to be.
3 minutes to play.
So still plenty of time.
No
Baker Thomas, short pass, finds the target in Gregson. 1 point lead in favour of Papua New Guinea. Gregson, long kick to half-back. Fly there was from Donald Brown. Couldn't drag the ball in. And eventually the umpire crosses himself. Will have a bounce on the Great Southern Stand side of the ground.
No time on, so everybody will be aware how long there is to go.
2.5 minutes about to tick in. Beattie handball over the head. That was dangerous and it created the turnover. Kick inside 50. Crashing the pack there, Siwi. Turnover, Suku Brandon, threw it on the boot, Johnson with a couple to beat, Tiffany Thomas beaten for it by Siwi, who tapped it out, holding the ball in on Rattenbury. It's a good tackle, and we get a ball up 55 metres out from goal. Papua New Guinea in attack and leading by a point, 2 minutes to play.
So ball in the air, Smith and Akupu with the tap. Johnson was the first one there for PNG, and he's quickly claimed. They'll be happy with this Papua New Guinea. It's in their half of the ground. And while the ball isn't in play, the clock keeps ticking. Less than 2 minutes to play. Smith with the tap. Comes now, tried to get it to out there to, that was Siwee. Now high ball into the square, a mark. Oh, they've spoiled themselves. Couldn't take it. Wartovo's in there as well. Comes now to Parika. Quick shot at goal was smothered. Now Logo, his kick smothered. In there hard as well was Simon. Going to ground. Umpire again calls for the ball. 25 metres out from goal. It is in Papua New Guinea's half of the ground. Less than a minute and a half to play.
They put the whistle away. I don't mind that. One down for the Kiwis by Smith. Out towards the 50 it goes. Flying hand pass over the top. Donald Brown unable to trap it. Aisi. Simon dives onto the contest. Jay Johnson there as well. It's not coming out of there. And we'll have another ball up. 1 minute remaining. 1 point the margin. What an International Cup Grand Final we've seen.
So ball in the air. Smith with the tap. This might be last roll of the dice. Time for the Kiwis now. Less than a minute to go. Gideon Simon has possession. He's quickly claimed. He's not going anywhere.
Heading up the
Umpire
clock.
calls for it again.
Remember, we had exactly this situation on Tuesday, and New Zealand kicked a goal after the siren to beat Ireland.
This is it, the last roll of the dice. Time now. Tiffany Thomas tries to take possession. Maybe a high contact there. Umpire let it go. Now they go forward to New Zealand. Trying to run onto the loose ball was Miller. Couldn't do so. Namidi takes it. Now with the Kiwis. Comes to Rattenbury. Handball forward. Now with Miller. Comes over the top. The man in Christensen couldn't take possession. Now the Papua New Guinea Penny out there. Go quick kick forward. But it's marked.
Hold the footy.
It's marked by Johnson. 10 seconds to go, out wide to Akupu.
Papua New Guinea are going to win this. The Akupu step around. The defending champions, they go back to back. Papua New Guinea win the International Cup 2017 by 1 point in an absolute rip snorter at the MCG. Papua New Guinea 4-5-29. New Zealand 4-4-28, and look at them celebrate. Heartbreak for the Kiwis, a great victory for the Mosquitoes.
Oh, what a game. What a game, and what a finish to the men's Division 1 of the tournament. Papua New Guinea, very well deserved. And boy, oh boy, what a last quarter. It doesn't get any better than that.
Tell you what, on down the ground, boys, both sides are absolutely spent. They kept nothing in the locker. The New Zealand boys, well, they're just shattered. They really, really worked hard, but you're right. And what a call. Congratulations, boys. That was fantastic. Showed the real contest all the way through. Congratulations to the Mosquitoes. And I tell you what, really well led by their coach, David Lake. Best on ground, well, that's up to others other than us to pick, but by gee, it'll be a tough call. They had some fantastic players. 1 point lead coming into it basically all day. And the reigning premiers stick with it, the Mosquitoes.
The absolute heartbreak and devastation that you can see for Andrew Suku coming off the Kiwi bench. Tore his hamstring in the second quarter, and he would feel unfairly, but he would feel responsible that he wasn't able to be out there to help his team win as a key defender. Of course, Papua New Guinea losing major Alphonse Jambarufo during the third quarter, but grand finals decided by a point. It's so close, the difference between agony and ecstasy.
No, it certainly is. It's look, it's probably hard to describe what we've witnessed here at the MCG today, the home of footy, and for Papua New Guinea, look, a 1 point victory. They had to do it the hard way. They lost their first game against Ireland in wet conditions that didn't suit them. They then had to win all their remaining 3 games to stay in the tournament, and even then they had to win by a massive margin in the final game against South Africa to boost their percentage. They did that. They did everything right. New Zealand, well, they were undefeated going into today, and they had really never been headed until the last game against Ireland. They'll almost feel cheated out of this, the way they've played right throughout the tournament. But congratulations to both teams for the spectacle they've put on today.
Boys, the way the tournament was structured up, it really is last man standing, because they play a lot of footy over a couple of weeks. And as we saw today, it is bore-in football. There's no holds barred. So realistically, it does take its toll, and unfortunately for other sides as well as both of these, some players got injured, some players missed out, but what a final we've had. Fantastic.
5 games in 13 days, and you think about the AFL clubs complaining about 6-day breaks.
Yeah, exactly. And look, you talk about this competition and what it means to these players. That's obvious, but starting to catch on. In the last quarter, you actually look down the boxes where we're broadcasting from, and all the heavy hitters of the AFL media were all watching the game. And at the end, the smiles on the faces of some of the big names in the AFL media landscape, just enthralled in the contest. Look, it's starting to catch on, guys, and it's certainly here to stay, and it'll become a big part of the AFL calendar in the years to come.
We just certainly hope that that what they've seen today will help build the publicity that they'll remember in 3 years' time, and it'll help build the publicity for what is a great tournament. Listen, the Papua New Guinean supporters singing and dancing, and that's on the outer side of the ground.
Yeah, it's awesome, absolutely awesome, and they are singing really, really strongly. And I tell you what, the crowd that are coming in for this next game, the Collingwood-Geelong game, they'll remember this game as well, because it had absolutely the one big word that everybody wants when you play footy: passion. It had passion personified, both of these sides, and not just the players out on the ground, but certainly everybody on the benches, etc. They were right into it, and the crowd that are getting in, they were also really, really well entertained. And have a listen to that singing for the Mosquito crew out on the outer side.
The Mosquito Fleet, we call them, couldn't we?
Yes, definitely.
And I think you've got to remember...
Very apt name.
I think you've got to remember this stream is going out around the world, so certainly all the PNG fans back in PNG will be ecstatic at this win, and it's just a great effort by the AFL to have this streamed out. Obviously, commiserations to all the Kiwi viewers and supporters. Your team really did well for you throughout the Cup, and those boys should be proud of themselves. They'll no doubt be back and be, certainly one of the favourites for 2020 International Cup.
And you can see what it means to the New Zealand lads as well. They are absolutely devastated down there. Just the look of devastation on their faces, and they obviously they came out here to win this one. They've fallen just agonisingly short, but take nothing away from the PNG boys. They were terrific today.
They were just one behind each, kicked in the last quarter. Papua New Guinea 4-5-29, New Zealand 4-4-28. Amua Mazaparika with 2 goals for the Mosquitoes, Ace with 1, and Clyde Pooler with the other single. And for New Zealand, 4 singles to Sam McKenzie, Jay Johnson, Carlos Donald-Brown and Barclay Miller. Just before we head down to the presentations, your summary of the game, Troy, and who just might get the medal for best on ground?
Well, I think it played out pretty much as we expected. New Zealand with their structures were good, but in the end, PNG managing to zone off and set up and repel New Zealand's advances whenever they went long, really told out in the end. And exciting up forward, PNG. I thought Parika's goals were very good, and what a finish. I mean, what a finish.
Presentations underway, boys.
Let's head down to ground level for the presentations.
I'd just like to thank the umpires for today's game. Thank you very much. Did a great job. Not only the umpires on the day, but the 130 umpires that have umpired the International Cup games throughout the last 2 weeks. The Division 1's men grand final is the 64th game of 65 over the 2-week period. Commiserations to New Zealand, a fantastic carnival. To Rob and Andrew and the team, well done on a great International Cup. Today's game also has a best player. We're lucky enough to have the AFL CEO, Mr. Gillon McLaughlin, here to present the Cup and also the best player medal. The best player on the ground in today's grand final from PNG, number 1, Hawago Paul Away.
Ace man. Ace gets best on ground. He was lively.
Affectionately known as Ace.
15 years of age, best on ground in the International Cup Grand Final. How good is that?
I believe all the boys at
Well done,
Broadbeach,
Ace.
where he's played a couple of games of watching.
And to accept the Winners' Cup on behalf of the PNG team, their captain, JJ Levi, coach, David Lake, and assistant coach, Darryl White. If you could come up and accept the cup off Gillon.
Barrel White trying to get away from that presentation, being understated as is.
So congratulations again to the PNG team. Thanks very much, New Zealand, and thanks everyone for watching.
Now going to hear from John James Levi, the captain of Papua New Guinea.
First of all, I just want to thank the New Zealand side. We know that it's going to be a tough game against you boys. Credit to the boys. We've done it. We're taking it back home, guys. And to our supporters, thank you very much.
Just quickly, thanks to the New Zealand boys, cracking game of footy. Keep cracking away, Robbie. Mate, and we'll keep coming the other way, mate. It's great fun. To the PNG boys, really well done. And, mate, for the young fella, 16-year-old Ace, all the way through the old boy Willie at 29. Mate, you're a credit to yourselves, credit to your country. Love the way you've grown. Good boys. Well done.
Thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.
So Papua New Guinea, for the second time in a row, are champions of the International Cup for AFL in 2017, and for the third time overall, Troy, making them the most successful team in International Cup history.
For the fourth time, and
Fourth
the first
time
to go back-to-back.
Fantastic stuff. Papua New Guinea 4 goals 5-29, defeated New Zealand 4-4-28 in a heart-stopping International Cup Grand Final, and now a lap of honour around the MCG. What a thrill that would be for them, Shane.
Oh, certainly will. Every footballer's dream, I suppose, is to win a title at whatever level on the home of football, on the hallowed turf of the MCG, and look, these guys have done it, and as Troy said, that's now the fourth time that Papua New Guinea have won this tournament, and look, on the evidence of today, you can certainly see why.
Yeah, no question. We've seen some ripping football over the past couple of weeks. Just to give some of the other nations, before we close off, to give some of the other nations a bit of a plug. Ireland finished third yesterday, 7-6-48, beating the USA 2 goals 4-16. Nauru finished fifth with an 8-5-53 win over sixth place Great Britain, 5-2-32. Canada finished seventh, 3-6-24, defeating Fiji 2-9-21. And South Africa 7-9-51 defeated France 3-3-21 in the battle for 9th and 10th. In Division 2, two competition newcomers, I believe, Troy, played out in the grand final, and it was a big win for Croatia, 11-8-74 to Germany, 1-2-8, with Svetko being best on ground for the Croats. And we saw a great mascot there. The Melbourne Knights duck came out and supported Croatia, which was great to see. China finished third in Division 2, 4-8-32 over Japan, 3-5-23. Sri Lanka, who have only been playing football for 15 months, kicked 2 goals in the last 90 seconds to beat Indonesia by a point, 7-2-44 to 5-13-43. An unbelievable finish that was. And Pakistan, another newcomer to football over the last 3 or 4 years, they beat India for the second time in a week, and we're pretty happy about that, 6-7-43 to 4-2-26. And of course, 8 women's teams taking place. Great Britain third, 5-2-32, beat USA 4-1-25. Fiji finished fifth, 5-7-37 over Papua New Guinea, 1-1-7. And the two youngest and most inexperienced teams, the European Crusaders, finished seventh, 8-16-64 over Pakistan, 1 straight 6. When the Pakistan girls scored that goal, their first score in football, they celebrated as much as the Papua New Guineans just did then, Shane.
No, they certainly did, and that was a very telling moment of the tournament too yesterday, when the Pakistani girls finally got through for their first score, and it was also fantastic to see, and sort of showed off the meaning of the tournament when the Crusaders girls also come over and they were high-fiving the Pakistanis as well.
And of course, the International Cup isn't quite over. Canada versus Ireland in the women's grand final over at Etihad Stadium on this live stream at 4:30 p.m. So make sure you tune back in then. Thanks very much, Noel Watson, down on the boundary line from Central Murray Live, doing a great job down in the sun on the MCG.
Cheers, boys. Been a real thrill, and yeah, congratulations to the Mosquitoes. They were fantastic. The Hawks from New Zealand, absolutely devastated. It's a one-point game. What a grand final, and it's been fantastic to be a part of it. And again, our thanks to Kirsty, and congratulations to Shane, Brendan and Troy up in the box. Terrific work, boys. Well done.
Thanks, Noel. Thanks, Troy Thompson from World Footy News in special comments.
Thanks very much. Just great to see a great grand final between two great teams. We'll be back and see everyone here for the International Cup in 2020 in 3 years.
Shane Fleming, a great job here on commentary, also from Central Murray Live. Again, great achievement for your station up in Swan Hill.
Thank you, Brendan, and look, just an absolute pleasure and a delight to be a part of the tournament right throughout the 2 weeks. Just something, a fantastic experience for everyone that was involved.
And I'm Brendan Rhodes for Casey Radio. Papua New Guinea, champions of the International Cup for the 2nd time in a row, the 4th time overall. They are the best team, the best nation, of course, outside Australia. They celebrate a 1-point victory. Thanks, Kirsty Fitzgerald, as Noel said. For Shane Fleming, Noel Watson and Troy Thompson, I'm Brendan Rhodes saying goodbye from the MCG. We'll see you back here in 3 years' time. Papua New Guinea, champions of the International Cup.